What's up and welcome to another episode of It's Tip Top Fishing. My name is Keaton Ditchfield and today I'm going to take you through my tackle box. My tackle boxes. My main one, which is this guy over here. It's a Witchwood box, but I got it from SNZ Tackle. And then I've also got my spare one, which is an NGT box. Okay, cool. Let me take you through it. Let's open it up. Okay, let's first take you through this section over here. This section, flap that over, is the rig section. This rig section has got a lot of foam and a lot of pins where you can make whatever rigs you like and you can pin them in securely. I've had this box for quite a long time and it's worked quite well. It's nice to keep your rig straight and can save you a lot of time because you can sit at home, watch TV and make your rigs, make sure they're nice and perfect and then put them in here. Also, what it's got over here is the measuring. So if you want to make sure your rigs are exactly the same length every time, it's got a 12-inch ruler on the front. This side I've got all of my hook links, which is there. It's a soft braid. Then I've got a coated braid, which is semi-stiff, I think. Yeah, semi-stiff. Both 25 pounds, I think. Then I've got a soft coated braid, which is a quarter end trap. I was given that. And then I've got some tripwire, some Gardner tripwire, also 25 pound. This is a very stiff fluorocarbon. So I've got a very soft, supple, uncoated braid, a coated supple braid, a coated semi-stiff braid, fluorocarbon, which is very, very stiff. Then I've got, this is one of the best fluorocarbons that I've ever used, and I've used it for years. It is Berkeley Vanish 20 pound. It is great for leaders. It is great for hook links. I just love this material. It is very, very sturdy, very, very strong. It's relatively thin, sinks quite well, and it's got a semi-stiff quality to it. It's very nice. And if you think about how much you get, I'm not sure how much it is now. Well, I bought 250 meters, hey? Yeah, 250 yards of this a long time ago for about 165 Rand. And I'm still using it. Look like it, you can see it's all bashed up and blixened. Cool. Then I've got some tooth floss, which is great, you know, keep the teeth clean. No, this is used for baiting up my my hair rigs. And then I've got some Vaseline. No, Vaseline is not for what you're thinking. Vaseline is for my hooks, to keep my hooks nice and sharp. Now I've got these three guys right here, which is one of my top tips, my little secrets. These are those boards that girls use to buff their nails and file their nails. These are fantastic for sharpening your hook points. And once your hook points are sharp, it removes the coating on the hooks, which stops them from rusting. And then you put this little Vaseline on that, so it covers that little section of the hook that you've sharpened, so it stops it from rusting. And then a carp will pick up your rig, get hooked, and that'll take the rusting, the Vaseline off, which if you lose the fish, the hook will then rust, and then the fish, it'll rust off and the fish will be fine. So it not only keeps your hook from not rusting when you need it to not rust, it also allows it to rust when you've lost a fish. Then I've got some putty, some heavy putty, so I can sink rigs and stuff. Then I've got a trusty Bic lighter, like the lighter for Bic for men. Hi, I'm Beast and Tarira. I now use Bic for men. So I've got a Bic lighter there. Then I've got my trusty braid scissors. These things are great. They cut braid very nicely. Then I've got too many, I will admit it, too many baiting needles. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. I don't know why I've got 6, but I've got 6. This Fox one I like because it's got a straight point on it, and it penetrates stuff nicely, the little one. And I like the long one because I can use it for stringers and stuff. Then I've got these cheap, cheerful ones that I bought and sold for a bit, but they are fantastic. They are my favorite ones that I've ever used. They are thin, they are strong. Just put some prattly putty to reinforce them. And yeah, they're great. And then I've got a baiting drill over here for those hard little tiger nuts. Then I've got three pullers, hook pullers, and then two of them have got a stripping little thing on the back. This space allows me to be a little bit messy. It still closes the box, which is quite nice. Okay, cool. Then let's move to the other section, the leads. Whenever I change rods and I use, say, my 12 foot, I will change these leads for, I'd say, a 3.5 ounce or 3 ounce leads. And depending on how far I'm casting, they'll either be distance leads or they will be the gripper leads that I like to use. Then I've got the little section, this little section over here. This guy has got all of my spare hooks. I've got some spare hooks over here. Then I've got some break off things from Gardner, so if I'm using a helicopter setup, I will put a lead on that, and then if the lead gets snagged, it'll break off and be safe. I've got some quarter, those heli-safe things that they've got. I've only got one because they're damn expensive. Then I've got boilie stops. Then I've got some swivels. Then I've got my tiny swivels on the end where they are I use for the back of my slip D rigs, and then I've got some soft rubber beads that I also use for my helicopter lead setups. And that's about it. That's the small section. Then this section I made to create whatever rig I want. So this is my main section where if I'm going to make rigs, I usually grab this guy first. So what do I have in it? Here you go. So on this side I've got my hooks. My favorite hooks that I like to use are the quarter wide gapes. Those are great. The Kamakura wide gapes are particularly nice. People say that they are too sharp and they blunt easily. Well, in my opinion, there's no such thing as a hook that is too sharp. And if you want to use the same hook over and over again, you should be sharpening it over and over again, and hooks don't last long if you do that. So then I've got a bit of foam over here. I've got all my tail rubbers for my lead clips. Tail rubbers. Then I've got some my lead clips over here. Then I've got some shrink tubing. Then I've got some anti-tangle sleeves over here. I've got some floating and sinking fake maize and fake little maggoty things. I barely ever use them. If you can see now, they look very old and tired because I barely use them. Then I've got some floating foam, different colored foams. And then I've got some split shots. These are great for sinking my leader or rigs and stuff. It's just, you put on a small split shot. You don't squeeze it too tight, because if you squeeze it too tight, you're going to break your line underneath it. So you squeeze it a little bit just so it doesn't move, and then you put tungsten putty over that, and it saves you money in tungsten putty, because for some reason tungsten putty is just super expensive. It's unreasonably expensive. Then I've got some quick change swivels over here. Then I've got a little bit of this. This is a tip that I was taught by Darren Feeney. He's a legend angler, and I've got some tungsten tubing which I use for the tips of my hooks to weight down the tip of the hooks, which speeds up the hooking ratio, the hookup ratio. So I've got that. So that's my main little tackle box. Cool beans. Then my other box. This is a little NGT something or other. It's nice, sturdy, well made, very lacquer. Also got this from SNZ Tackle. Cool. So it's got the top slot. In the top slot I've got some spare leader that I used before. I'm a big one for not wasting stuff. So this is a leader I've used before. It didn't get broken or anything, or faded or anything. So it's still good. So I've tied that up so I can use it again when I go to replay. And then I've got some beads in here. Then I've got these two guys. These are little papgooi rigs that I'm using in a future video that I'm still going to do at the Vaal for papgooiing. I know it's not the best time for papgooiing because it's going into winter now, but it is what it is. Then I've got two Duracell batteries that are spare at the moment. Then I've got some extra leader materials. I've got a 14-pound Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon, an 8-pound Vanish fluorocarbon, and then I've got some 50-pound braid, which is Power Pro braid, I think, back in there. Then I've got some spare tungsten tubing, PVA bags. Then I've got some clippers. These are just spare clippers, they work. Then I've got my spare leads, which, I say I swap them out. This is where I swap them out. So I've got my 3-ounce and 3.5 ounce leads here, and I've got an 8-ounce just in case there's a boat that I use. And I've got some spare little papgooi, I don't know what they're called. I hear them get called springs, but those ones aren't springs. Cool. Then I've got a tiny little file for hook sharpening. I've got my gripper that I grip the hooks with. Then I've got a spare baiting needle, a spare drill, and then I've got another spare baiting needle. This is a very thick one. Then I've got the spare, nail file in case I want to do my nails. You know what the nail file is for, it's for sharpening hooks. Cool. Then I've got some PVA foam, which is these little nuggets you put on your hook and they dissolve in water. It just protects your hook point on the way down and during the cast. I've got some more carp care stuff here. It's anti-bad stuff for carp. Then I've got some easy melt PVA stringer. And I've got some, now this is being used for ages. This is a little secret sauce from Brandon, Maine. He gave me this little vial of secret sauce. I've still, to this date, never smelt anything like it, and it is fantastic stuff. It has caught me some fish where nothing else has caught me. So I've got no idea what is in it, but thank you very much, Mr. Brandon. Then I've got this, it's a normal eraser that you use for pencils, and the pencil, this is also good for sharpening up your hook, just that last bit to make it that supernatural sharpness. Then I've got some lead free, and that is just lead free is lead core, it's the same stuff. Then I've got some spare method feeders. These guys are great. It's like advanced papgooi in my opinion, where you can make sure your hook point and your hooks are always on the right side. So another one of those. Then I've got an inline lead here with some lead free on it as well. Then I've got, last but not least, I've got some mouth trap, 25-pound mouth trap, which is nice. I like the color of this fluorocarbon. It's very nice and disappears quite nicely in the water. So that is my two boxes, my two tackle boxes. Pretty much all of the stuff you see in these boxes are available at SNZ Tackle. There's a link to SNZ Tackle in the description below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on It's Tipped Up Fishing.